Marcus is 34. He drives a 2022 BMW 5 Series, silver, loaded, $748 a month. His co-workers notice. His neighbors definitely notice. He feels successful every single morning when he backs out of his driveway. He's also got $11,000 in his savings account and no investment portfolio to speak of. Then there's Dana. She's 36. She drives a 2019 Toyota Camry she bought for $16,000 cash 2 years ago. Nothing special to look at. She doesn't talk about it much. What she does have is $74,000 sitting in an S&P 500 index fund, growing at roughly 9% a year, and she hasn't made a car payment since 2022. Both of these people earn around $85,000 a year. Same income, same starting point. A gap most people never notice until it's already too late to close. The car you drive says almost nothing about your financial situation, but how you bought it, that tells the whole story. And there are really only 3 strategies most Americans use when buying a car. One of them quietly builds wealth, while the other 2 quietly destroy it. If you're someone who feels like they're working hard but never actually getting ahead, subscribe and like this video. It will help more than you think.
Here's what most people get wrong about car buying. They treat it like a math problem. They compare monthly payments, they shop interest rates, they try to time the market, and they miss the actual issue entirely. The real problem isn't the car. It's the belief that the car is a reward. Somewhere along the way, most of us learned that a nice car signals success. You got a raise, you upgrade. You get promoted, you upgrade. You just want to feel good. You upgrade. The car becomes a symbol of where you think you should be, not a tool you buy based on where you actually are.
And that belief is expensive. Not $748 a month expensive, lifetime expensive. The average new car in 2025 costs around $48,000. The average monthly payment for financing one is $745. That's before insurance, before gas, before the registration that shows up in the mail and quietly costs you $400 you forgot to budget for. Your total monthly transportation cost on a financed new car can easily run $1,100 or more. If you take home $5,000 a month after taxes, you've just handed over 22% of your income to a depreciating asset. That's not a car payment. That's a slow bleed. The 3 strategies aren't really about cars. They're about what you believe money is for. Let's call these 3 strategies what they actually are: the lease trap, the finance spiral, and the cash accumulator. Marcus is running the finance spiral. He financed a $52,000 car at 8.4% interest over 72 months. That $748 monthly payment sounds manageable until you do the math. Over 6 years, Marcus will pay roughly $53,856 in payments alone. Add interest, and the total cost of that car is closer to $62,000. Meanwhile, the car itself, the BMW 5 Series he drove off the lot, lost about 10% of its value the moment he left the dealership. In 5 years, it'll be worth about 37% of what he paid. So he's spending $62,000 for something that will be worth around $19,000 when he's done paying for it. That's not transportation. That's a $43,000 loss gift-wrapped in monthly installments. But it gets harder to escape than people expect. Somewhere around year 2, Marcus will feel the itch. The new model will come out. A friend will get something nicer. And because he's been making payments faithfully, his credit score is fine. so the dealer will roll his remaining balance into a new loan. This is what the industry calls rolling negative equity forward. Marcus thinks he's trading up. What he's actually doing is adding debt on top of debt, cycling through cars he'll never fully own, perpetually spending money on something worth less each month than it was the month before. The lease trap works differently, but lands in the same place. Leasing gives you lower monthly payments, maybe $480 instead of $748, and a shiny new car every 3 years. What it doesn't give you is any equity, any ownership, or any way out of the cycle. You are paying to borrow a car. When the lease ends, you hand it back and start over. Every 3 years, forever. The monthly payment feels lower. The lifetime cost is enormous, and you own nothing. Now look at Dana's strategy, the cash accumulator. She saved $16,000 over 18 months. She bought a 3-year-old Camry, a car that had already absorbed its steepest depreciation, and she paid for it outright. No interest, no monthly obligation, no dealer rolling anything forward. Her car expenses now run about $280 a month, total. Insurance, occasional maintenance, gas. The other $465 she would have spent on a lease, she invests it. Every month. At a 9% average annual return, that $465 invested monthly grows to over $86,000 in 10 years. Dana isn't rich because she earns more. She's building wealth because her car isn't eating it. Here's what I want you to sit with for a second. Marcus doesn't feel poor. That's the trap. The finance spiral and the lease trap are both engineered to feel like winning. The payments are smooth. The cars are beautiful. The approval process takes 20 minutes. Nobody tells you what $745 a month, invested instead of spent, becomes over a decade. That's over $145,000 at historical market returns. One car payment, redirected, over 10 years. That's a down payment on a house. That's a college fund. That's the difference between working until 67 and having real options at 57. The psychology here is specific. Researchers call it payment decoupling. The moment a purchase is broken into monthly installments, your brain stops processing it as a large sum. $745 doesn't feel like $62,000. It feels like $745. And so people who would never hand a dealer a briefcase containing $62,000 in cash will sign a financing agreement without a second thought, because the number on the page feels manageable. That's not a character flaw, it's how we're wired. The dealers know this. The leasing structure was literally designed around it. The question isn't whether you can afford the payment. The question is what you're paying for, and what you're giving up to pay for it. I'm not here to tell you to drive a 1999 Corolla with a cracked bumper and feel virtuous about it. That's not what Dana did, and it's not what this is about. What Dana did, what the cash accumulator strategy actually looks like in practice, comes down to 3 decisions made in the right order. First, she separated transportation from identity. She asked herself what she actually needed the car to do: commute reliably, handle Chicago winters, fit her dog. A 3-year-old Camry did all of that. She was not buying a symbol. She was solving a transportation problem. Second, she targeted the sweet spot in the depreciation curve. New cars lose roughly 10% of their value the moment they leave the lot, and up to 63% over 5 years. A car that's 2 to 4 years old has already taken that hit. You're buying the same reliability, often with remaining factory warranty, at a fraction of the original price.
Certified pre-owned programs from Toyota and Honda make this even lower risk. The car is inspected, the history is documented, and you're not gambling on a mystery.
Third, she treated the difference as an investment commitment, not as leftover money. Whatever she would have spent on a car payment, she moved it to her index fund on the same day every month. Not when she remembered, not when things were comfortable. On schedule, automatically. The money never sat in checking long enough for her to spend it on something else. These aren't complicated moves. They don't require a financial advisor or a six-figure salary. They require deciding, once, that transportation is a cost to minimize, not an identity to fund. Marcus is still driving his BMW. It's still silver. It still turns heads in the parking lot. But Dana's brokerage account just crossed $90,000. She's 36. If she doesn't add another dollar, just lets it compound at historical averages, she'll have over $400,000 by the time she's 55. Not because she earned more, not because she took any special risk, because she didn't hand $745 a month to a financing company for a decade. The car you drive doesn't make you wealthy, and it doesn't make you poor. The strategy behind how you bought it, that's what does the work. Quietly, in the background, every single month for the rest of your working life. You get to choose which strategy you're running. Drop a comment below and tell me where you are right now. Are you in a lease, financing, or did you go the cash route? I want to know. And if this hit differently than you expected, like the video. It genuinely helps more people find it who need to hear it.